she feels in that movie. She feels like a Family Guy version of like a Bond girl. Like she's just constantly sexualizing herself for no reason whatsoever. And I'm like, why are we doing this? What are we doing? What are we doing, Jacob? We're doing this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Cloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles, and excited for another episode of the podcast. We pitch new TV shows every single week. New episodes, new storylines, new ideas, new worlds, all packed into these lovely little shows and movies and short stories, and you did a play. And
I did.
Those are all the things we've done, I think. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. But this week, Charlie, you
don't forget TV shows. We did TV shows also.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, those TV shows we do every once in a while. Rarely, very rarely. Sarcasm. Anyway, you've got a new show for us this week, which is called
Blood Magic and Radio Static.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I do actually really like this title. I was excited when I got the title last week. You gave me the title at the end of the show. And then as soon as we stopped recording, I forgot it and assumed that I didn't have to record this week. Because the part of my brain that knew that you had recorded the last episode and the part of my brain that knew that we had recorded one weekend, like I had recorded that weekend, hadn't connected yet. Like my brain hadn't really realized we had done a double. In my head, I had just accepted that I had recorded that weekend, so I didn't need to record the next weekend, which is dumb. So last night I asked you for the title again, and I feverishly wrote my pitch in a alcohol-fueled stupor. But I'm actually kind of happy with it. It is a movie, not a TV show. It's kind of a play on classic like horror films. Think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, not 1. 2 was a big inspiration for this, as well as like Satanic Panic sort of stuff. Think about John Constantine, but like early in his career when there was like demons and stuff like that, you know. Less like esoteric magic and more there's a big monster. So let's get into it. Harriet Sharp is a radio DJ living in a small Mississippi town in the 1990s. She's a whip-smart, college-educated woman who left the fast-paced, high-stress world of music production to enjoy her life a little bit more. Enjoy the slow, languid pace that you find down in the South. She's become accustomed to her life as a small-town radio DJ till one night, a young woman starts knocking on her door in the middle of a rainstorm. This is how the movie begins, also, is with Harriet Sharp talking on the radio, right? And she's just having a good night, playing some tunes, right? She puts on a song and she kind of leans back, takes her headphones off, takes a breath, right? And then we could hear the knocking at the door, right? And she looks out the window and she sees it's pouring rain. And there's a knocking at the door, so she has a joint tucked behind her hair, takes the joint out, lights it, and goes to the door to answer it. And that's where we meet our other protagonist, Luna Meese. Luna is a 19-year-old runaway who's really into Bob Dylan and loves Harriet's radio show. She shows up on her doorstep after waking up in a muddy ditch on the side of the road. She's terrified and just starts walking until she finds somewhere that she feels safe. So as soon as Harriet opens the door, we're gonna cut to Luna waking up in the muddy ditch, right? You know, she wipes the mud from her face, gets up, pulls herself out of the ditch onto the like road, and she just starts walking. And she doesn't know where she's gonna go, but the rain's pouring down on her, and she's compelled almost by this like force beyond her, and it's just pulling her forward and forward, and eventually she finds Harriet's cabin, right? And she knocks on the door. So that's when our two protagonists meet each other. And I want Harriet to kind of be like, she's in her mid-40s. She's one of those like hippy-dippy-doo-dah ladies. She's got very long, brown, curly hair. She's got bandanas on, lots of rings and bracelets. She has a couple of tattoos. She's a big stoner, right? She's very cool. You know, kind of slightly muscular, but she's not, like, she works out, but she's not fit, you know, if that makes sense. Luna is a young 19-year-old girl, right? Very innocent, very naive. She doesn't know very much. She's got a purple streak through her hair, right? Classic, you know, classic movie runaway, you know? Every version of a runaway teenage girl trying to make her way in America in a movie, like, that's her, right? She's got a big oversized hoodie, she's got a nose ring, you know, that sort of thing, right? Harriet brings Luna in and gets a towel around her and starts to warm her up, and Luna is so terrified, she's blubbering, she's crying, right? She doesn't know what to do, and Harriet just, like, clears off some room on her couch. She puts a towel down, she says, you can sit here, you know, it's okay, let me go make you a cup of tea, right? And she goes into the kitchen, she makes her a cup of tea, she comes back out, and Luna's falling asleep on the couch, right? Harriet, being the kind soul that she is, just kind of like, smiles, you know, puts the cup down, she takes a blanket, and she puts it over Luna, who's still soaking wet, so she's like, you know, not soaking wet, she's dried off a little bit, but she's still wet. Puts the blanket over her, and then flicks the light off and goes to sleep, taking the tea with her and finishing it in bed, right? Luna sleeps for 12 hours and wakes up with Harriet standing over her, holding a plate of dinner, right? She slept through breakfast, she slept through lunch. She was exhausted. And Harriet's got a big bowl of chili, and she's got some cornbread, and she's got some sour cream and cheese on top of the chili and everything. She puts the bowl in front of Harriet, she puts the plate with the cornbread on, and she gives her a soda, she gets her a spoon, right? And Luna. Luna absolutely devours, like 3 bowls of chili without even really taking a breath, you know? And as she puts down that 3rd bowl, Harriet, like, you know, makes a comment like, oh, you're hungry, huh? And Luna kind of looks at her and gives a little smile, right? Kind of a sorrowful smile, you could say. And Harriet asks her what happens. And that's when Luna begins to tell her story. And we cut back to Luna, you know, doing her thing. We found out Luna got into town not too long ago, right? And she was hanging out at a local bar, getting drinks bought for her, right? As she does. That's typically how she eats. A lot of the time is she'll go to a bar and she'll kind of flirt with a guy and get him to buy her like a bowl of fries or a sandwich or something like that, right? And she's hanging at this local bar and she's sipping on like some vodka cran, and this band comes in, and it's like 4 dudes, and they're all classic like heavy metal kind of dudes. They are a bluegrass metal band is what I have. So they're kind of rednecky, kind of heavy metal, you know, long hair, lots of tattoos, kind of goth makeup on. But they've also got, you know, cowboy boots and their flannel shirts on and everything. So think metal cowboys, metal rednecks. So she decides these guys seem pretty cool. They seem like kind of up my alley in terms of, you know, the people I like, because I like folk music, but I'm also into like punk and metal and that sort of thing. These guys seem cool. And so she spends a few nights partying with these guys, and they seem to be pretty cool dudes. You know, nobody's been bothering her. She's just like been hanging out with them and having drinks and having fun, partying, going out, you know, watching their gigs and everything, right? And after a few nights, it starts to get a little weird, right? They start to like have conversations as if she's not there, and they're like, you know, just kind of being very weird about her. And she's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go. So would you guys mind dropping me off at the train station? And they say, oh yeah, of course, no problem. Here's a cup of coffee, right? You know, it's a long train ride. We don't want you to fall asleep or it's a long drive to the train station. We don't want you to fall asleep before you get there. She kind of laughs and takes the cup, and she takes a sip. She wakes up, and she's been tied to a table in the woods, right? The 4 members of the metal band are all standing around here wearing robes with this strange symbol of a claw mark on their chests, right? They are all standing around here chanting, you know, very, very strangely. And she's like trying to get them to let her go. She's talking. She's like starting to cry and get really freaked out. And they are not listening to her at all. And that's when she sees one of them bring up a goat onto the table that they've tied her down to, right? And she's like, what are you gonna do with this goat? And they aren't stopping chanting, and she's realizing that they're chanting one of their most popular songs backwards. It's like, ooh. So they're chanting their songs backwards as one of them takes a dagger and he plunges it into the goat's neck and slits its throat, pouring blood all over Luna's face, right? And they hold her mouth open as the blood is pouring it onto her, like it's going everywhere from the goat. And they hold her mouth open, and then they put a hand over her nose so she can't breathe, and they make her swallow the goat blood as they continue to chant and chant and chant. And as they're chanting, they clean the blood off of her, right? They clean her off. They make her cleaner, right? She's still like her clothes are still covered in blood, but they clean off her face and everything like that. And then they put a bag over her head. And then she wakes up in the ditch, right? And she sees the pickup truck that they drive pulling away from them, like just driving away from her. And that's where we find her at the beginning of the film, is in the ditch, right? And she's crying as she's finished off telling the story. And Harriet, puts her arms around her and comforts her and asks if she wants to go to the cops or not. Like if she what can she do to help? And Luna says, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be any more in this than I already am. Could I stay with you for a little bit until, we get comfortable? And Harriet agrees, quickly, right? They, immediately, basically, because she's a good person. And they spend the day at home, right? And the next day they wake up, Luna gets up off the couch, and they decide to go into town and get her some new clothes. They go into town, and they go to the local boutique, and Luna's trying on some new clothes, and she sees this old woman walk into the store, and then she makes eye contact with Luna. And then this old woman touches her forehead and shoulders as if she's making the sign of the cross, and she kisses her hand, and then she walks out immediately of the store. And Luna thinks that's weird. And while Luna's in the store, Harriet goes to the sheriff's office and explains what had happened to her, right? And the sheriff is like this old school, like, manly man, southern sheriff, right? He's got a big mustache. 20 years ago, he would be played by Sam Elliott. Now he could be played by, you know what? I'm going to say he could be played by Chris Pine. I think Chris Pine would be good for this role. I just watched some of Hell or High Water, and I could see that for him. And the sheriff, Harriet tells him the whole story, and the sheriff is like, that's ridiculous. That's bullshit. And he brushes her off as just being some crazy 19-year-old girl. She probably ate too many mushrooms, right? Like, who cares? And so... Yeah,
those portobello mushrooms, exactly. they can really put you under.
They get crazy. It make you see things. And so Harriet's incensed by that. She's furious that the sheriff could be so, callous and uncaring. I can eat all the
portobello mushrooms I want.
Put them on a sandwich? They're
Grilled,
delicious.
Raw.
Yum, yum, yum.
Everyone.
Did you know there are a lot of mushrooms that are just, like portobello mushrooms and, the baby mushrooms are the same mushroom, just at different levels of maturity, and I didn't know that. I found that out recently. I found that very interesting. If you just see, a baby mushroom, not, it doesn't have a specific name, it's a portobello, it's just a young portobello. I found that interesting, I think.
I did.
I think that's true. I might be lying. But as they're driving back, As they drive back home, furious, the moon rises. Hurricane by Bob Dylan plays on the radio. As Luna begins to transform.
You gonna play all of it?
It's gonna be there's a transformation happening. It's a long transformation, and that I wanted Bob Dylan, and this kind of to me feels like the most exciting, fast-paced Bob Dylan song, And I don't think it would be. I don't think it would work.
Okay, there's just some words in that.
Yeah,
song.
We're not gonna play the part where Bob Dylan says the N-word. I promise, Jake. We're gonna dub you in saying the N-word instead.
Oh shit, no.
No. As Luna begins to transform, her skin tears with fur and her jaws begin to crack with fangs. The soft hazel of her eyes is replaced by a murky yellow. The breaking and resetting of her bones reverberates around the car, only matched in volume by Luna's own screams. Harriet looks over, her mouth agape, as Luna's own begins to stretch and bend outward. Her nose and palate stretch forward as her screams turn to howls. Her hair grows longer as tufts of fur begin to sprout all over her body. Her fingers lengthen and her nails sharpen. Harriet begins to scream as Luna completes her transformation into a werewolf. Dun dun dun!
Oh.
You didn't expect a werewolf movie, did you?
I did not. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. So Luna tears her way out of the side of the car as Harriet's screaming, right? Her transformation's complete. She's a 9-foot, gigantic, 400-pound werewolf monster. And she is running through the woods. Right? Harriet brings the car to a stop. She's kind of shaking. You know, her hands are on the wheel. She takes a minute. She catches her breath. She pulls another joint out of her hair, and she very shakingly lights it. And then she starts the car up again, turns around, and drives back to town, right? And then we follow Luna as she's tearing her way through the forest, right? And I want like a first-person POV view of her like on two legs running through the woods, and then as she's picking up speed, she starts to go on four legs, and she's galloping through the woods like a dog, you know, all four legs at the same time, that sort of thing. And then, where am I? Ah, yes, sorry, I lost my place in the thing. She's running through the forest, and she is being drawn by the same power that drew her to Harriet. She's being drawn by her werewolf senses back to the band that did this to her. And she's following her nose, and she's galloping through the woods until she finds this seance that's happening. And we see the bluegrass metal band on stage, and they've got like dozens of people in the audience, like enjoying their music, and they're all dressed in cult outfits, and they've all got the same claw mark symbol on their chests. And we see the band has like giant claw mark symbols all over their instruments in the back of their thing, and they're playing their music backwards, and the cult members are all loving it. And that's when Luna arrives, and she lets out a crazy loud screeching howl, and some of the cult members like get down on their knees and start to worship her. Others run away, and the last group grabs shotguns and axes and gets ready to fight her because they know that she's coming for them. And Luna picks up one of the worshiping cult members and tears him in half. And this is where we're gonna get one of the grossest, bloodiest, most violent werewolf battle scenes I ever want on cinema. All right, like this is gonna be the most violent werewolf massacre ever put on celluloid. It's gonna make American Werewolf in London look like child's play. She's tearing guys in half. She's ripping dudes' faces off. She's grabbing dudes, tearing them open and ripping out their intestines, right? She's biting guys' faces off. These dudes are coming at her with axes. She's catching the axes, ripping them out of her hands and slamming them back into the dudes' heads. And she's like using the dull part of the axe, but she's so strong that she's putting it all the way through his head, right? Like, it's real gory stuff. And as the battles commence, we cut back to Harriet, right? And we do a little bit of a time jump backwards. So Harriet gets back to town before Luna finds the band, and she talks to the sheriff, and she explains to the sheriff that Luna is running through the woods. She doesn't know what she's doing, and the sheriff's kind of not very interested until Harriet mentions, well, she's running through the woods naked. Right? And the sheriff kind of like, ooh, like he kind of gets all excited, and he's, you know, because he's not a very good sheriff, and he's kind of an old fuddy-duddy, right? But he gets in the cop car with Harriet, and they drive to the woods where they left her, and they're driving along the woods, shouting her name, trying to find her, when they hear screams and shouting and shotgun blasts coming from the woods. They both get out of the car. The sheriff grabs his gun, loads it, and he hands Harriet another gun, right? And he's like, you might need this. I don't know what's happening over there, right? Something like that. And they run into the woods and they come upon the scene as Luna is tearing these people apart. And they both try and stop her. They fire at her. She tosses the guns aside, but she doesn't want to hurt them because she knows, her werewolf brain knows that neither of them did anything to her, right? The sheriff was just kind of a dick. But that's not, you shouldn't get ripped in half for that, right? So she kind of tosses them aside, but they're left, safe. She gently tosses them to the side, I guess you could say, right? And then she finds the band, and the 4 band members are all they're all like curled up in corners crying and shitting themselves. They're all terrified, right? And Luna, they're begging her forgiveness, and they're begging for her to leave them alone. They'll do anything, right? They'll reverse the curse. They can reverse the curse. And Luna, grabs the first one. She tears him in half. She grabs another one, puts her fucking claws through his chest and throws him behind her, right? She takes the third one, rips his head off, and throws him to the side. And then the last one, he's crying, so scared, and he starts chanting. He starts doing the same chant that he was doing before, right? And he takes some blood that he finds on the ground, and he starts to do a little bit of blood magic. And that's when Luna takes him and tears his legs off of his body, and his intestines fall to the ground, and then she drops him. Right? And he starts crawling away from her, all the while chanting, right? And he's his intestines are dragging behind him, and he's just trying to crawl away. And then Luna jumps on top of him, picks him up again by the neck, and holds his top torso, holds his torso and arms up to his face as she kind of stares him down, right? And then we see her eyes switch from the yellow back to the hazel for 1 second, and then switch back. And he coughs up some blood into her face and spurts the last few syllables of the spell, right? And then she bites his face off. Bites his whole head off his face. And yeah, then after she swallows it, she begins to scream and shout again, and we can see the transformation is lessening. It's going away. She's becoming more and more human again until she is just a 19-year-old girl scared and crying on the ground. And Harriet goes up to her and puts a jacket around her again and holds her tight and tells her everything's gonna be okay, right? And we cut to 3 weeks later. Harriet and the sheriff are getting coffee and talking about Luna. She's been released from custody there's not really any laws that they can, there's no laws for being a werewolf. And also the sheriff was there, so he knows that she's not gonna do it. He knows that she's not a violent monster, that it was a thing that happened to her. It was done to her. And so she has been released from custody, but she has been court-ordered to take a lot of regular therapy lessons, as well as attending church regularly. This is still a small Mississippi town. They don't fuck around with magic, right? And then
well known that small Mississippi towns don't mess around.
They mess around with magic, but then the townsfolk, the government officials are like, let's go to church. And then we see that all is well. As Harriet drives home and she sees Luna has got her own little room set up, and then we hear them, they are doing a radio show together. And that's how the movie ends, is with Luna and Harriet doing a radio show together as we pan across the swampy nature of Mississippi. Blood magic and radio static. There you go. That's the show.
Love it.
Movie. It's a movie.
I really liked it. I was afraid that you were going to take that very fun title
and make it dark and sad.
Something that had nothing to do with either of... I was afraid it wouldn't have blood magic. That was my fear.
It did.
And it did.
It did. Do you know what was funny, though? Is I was writing the show, and I only realized it was blood magic and not black magic after I wrote the goat thing. She did the goat,
to be fair,
blood
black magic and
thing.
Blood magic, there's a crossover.
I would say they're synonyms, if anything.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I did she had to swallow the goat blood, and then I was like, oh, it's blood magic. So that's even better, because I was like, well, what's a black magic thing? Goat sacrifices? Because I also didn't want it to be like, oh, they made her eat a baby. Like, you know, sometimes they like to do the sacrifice and make them real fucked up. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, this isn't a fucked up. I mean, it's gnarly, it's gory, but it's not fucked up, you know? I would say All the Quiet Horses is a more fucked up story. Because that guy kills himself at the end.
Yeah, that I still can't believe you killed him. At the end.
Yeah.
Pretty dark.
Pretty dark. This is not nearly as dark, and I didn't want it to be as dark. I wanted it to be kind of a 90s, like, the Craft, The Crow. I thought about making this a goth musical. Like, the story would be the same, but it would be like, it would be a musical. But the problem was, I thought about doing that at 11 o'clock at night. I was gonna make it a jukebox musical, but then I was like, I don't know any goth songs. Like, I don't know enough goth music to where I could make that work, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I was happy with how Blood Magic and Radio Static turned out. I feel like it's a fun story. I wish I had characterized the sheriff a little bit more, but it was like 1:30 a.m. when I finished writing that pitch, and I didn't want to do any more of it.
Nice.
So, that's about it. That's the reason. So if you're wondering why the sheriff doesn't have any other characteristics besides being kind of a dick and being called the sheriff, that's why.
It's because Charlie was tired.
I'm tired. I'm more bored and lazy than tired, but yes, Charlie was tired. All right, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me as always has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. And remember, we'll be here next week with a brand new television series for you to imagine and enjoy. And what will the title of that series be, Jake? How do you know? You don't. Guess the number. 1 through 3. You have 3.
I'm not guessing a number. I'm just telling you a number. I'll go with 1.
1? Oh, see, this one,
oh boy.
I like the title. I just think it's very similar to Blood Magic and Radio Static. C4 and CDs. Or CDs and C4. One or the other. It's up to you.
C4 and CDs, or the opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
C4 and CDs. It's gonna be a heist movie about a crew that uses explosives attached to CDs, and they put it into a CD player and it explodes, and that somehow gets them into the vault, and then they get a bunch of money. And
I thought you were going to say that they were like going to get a CD from a vault, because CDs have become so
CDs
out
are
of fashion.
so valuable. They're trying to get a copy of Ted, that movie about the bear. They're trying to steal a copy of Ted from a vault, and they've got to use C4 to get in.
And the funny thing is, they don't even have, like, movies aren't on CDs, they're on DVDs, so they're just getting Ted, the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. It's the soundtrack of Ted, which is just normal song.
It's just regular music. It's not a movie with a very good soundtrack. It's an okay movie.
I'm glad you said the CD DVD thing, because I might have written something about movies, about DVDs.
Yeah.
That's a good point. CDs are not DVDs.
I should have waited, because, that would be so funny to, like, you give me the, like, first sentence of your pitch next week, and I just fucking poke a hole in that balloon and just watch it deflate. That'd be so funny. All right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and please have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.